Good afternoon, students. For today's second session of SAP, we have Nagraj sir with us. But sir, we can start the class after 10 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, Kunal. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon,
So
sir.
we'll wait for the others to join. And as usual, any questions, most welcome. All right. 54 students. Couple of more minutes and we will start. All right. No questions, students? Can you please clarify this question? What does it mean when the year in date shows as 1999 or maybe 9999? Where have you seen this? And if you can clarify this question, it will be helpful for the others also. So I'll be waiting for your clarification. Okay, then I will take it. One more interesting thing, students. So I will have to show you the CO area. All right. So we have seen the organizational entities as far as the controlling area goes, your profit centers, your segments. Okay. The only thing which we had not seen from the SAP perspective is your cost centers, right? So where exactly do we see the cost centers? Even before that, let us visit the CO area. So first I will take you into the CO area and probably um, share a small information as to what exactly and how exactly the consultant creates the controlling area. So in the system, you already see the standard controlling area again indicated by 0001. See the uniformity. The company code is also 0001. Your controlling area is also 0001. And probably when you look at the operating concern, it's going to be the same. And this is the nomenclature discipline, how we start naming. So there has to be some discipline managed in the live SAP projects as far as the um, system is concerned. And we also have the same, like another logic which you would have seen in the asset accounting. So 1000 was the uh, for the acquisition general ledger account. You saw 1010 was for your depreciation, accumulated depreciation. So like that, we have our own logic depending on each and every project requirement. So we devise a methodology for the naming of certain entities. Yeah. Now let me straight away get into the controlling. Controlling. I'm still in the end user screen. So we have seen the okay. I think I need to go to the consultant screen for me to display the controlling area. Controlling. So I have shifted from the end user screen to the consultant screen. Organization. Maintain controlling area. I'm going to execute. To maintain. This is the first step what a consultant does in order to create a new controlling area. Correct? Maintain. So we have seen the standard controlling area 0001. I also have my own controlling area GM01. Yeah. So, but our point of discussion will be more from the standard perspective. I can also explain the GM01. That should not be a big problem. So here you saw, or rather you see the standard CO area indicated by the code 0001. Now, activate. Now, if I double click, so we read some statements. If in financial accounting and the controlling area perspective or the requirement is identical, you can assign one company code to one controlling area. Controlling area same as company code. This is where you see the settings. Now, if I want to allow more than one company codes talking to one controlling area, if at all there is intercompany transactions, I would go to this option, cross company code cost accounting. This is the option. Okay. Now, what will be the reporting currency of our controlling area? what is going to be the chart of accounts? This is the most important of the prerequisites in the sense the operational chart of accounts must be one and the same, or the currency must be the same, and the chart of accounts, the chart of accounts should obviously be one. Um, One second, just a moment. So the prerequisites we were talking about, one is your operational chart of accounts, which should be the same. And the next one is your fiscal year variant, not necessarily the currency. The fiscal year variant, okay. For the current understanding, assume that it should be the same. Your company codes and your controlling area must be having the same fiscal year variant. If you're not going to get confused, I'm going to add one more statement. Just read this. I'm doing the F1 out here. The fiscal year variance in the company code and in the controlling area must have the same posting periods. That is the requirement. Clear, students? So if at all somebody asks you a question, what are the prerequisites for setting up a controlling area? You need to tell them regarding the operational chart of accounts, and you should be very, very clear in your statement saying that the fiscal year of both the areas, that is your company code area and your controlling area, must be having the same periods, must be having the same posting periods. Clear, students? So this is your important prerequisite. Now, I'll come back to the screen again. Now, activate the components. What components are we talking about? The controlling area components. Double click. So now I can activate the cost center accounting, order management. If I do not have the concept of internal orders, I can say not active. I do not want to use commitment management, not active. COPA, not active. So it all depends. Suppose I want to use the internal orders. I'll say active, component active. So like this, whatever I'm allowing or whatever I'm disallowing in the controlling area operations, I would select them here. Clear, students? Now, if at all you want to assign more company codes, where would you do it? Assignment of company codes to CO area. Double click. Now, can you see in my case, or rather in the standard case, your 0001 company code is assigned to 0001 controlling area. I can add any number of company codes, which is going to, obviously there should be a connection between your, see, I cannot assign a Tata company code to a Reliance controlling area. Makes no sense. Okay, so it is like this. Clear, students? Did you understand? This is a very, very brief insight into what is a controlling area, how it looks like from inside, what are the settings that you need to do, or rather you in the sense, I mean the consultant. So there are n number of settings. Clear? So there is another interesting thing. I'll delete this. Now see, it is a required entry. The cost center standard hierarchy. What is the standard hierarchy? Standard hierarchy, hitherto you are not exposed to this concept. The finance module was silent about what is called as a hierarchy. But in controlling, please get used to this term, hierarchy. So whatever you are constructing in the controlling area, it could be your cost centers, it could be your profit centers, whatever. They follow a pre-constructed skeleton. Okay, so there is a frame on which you are going to construct your data, your cost centers, your profit centers. So these things must necessarily follow the hierarchy. What is this hierarchy? I think I would have already given you the example, but I wouldn't have used this word hierarchy. The thing is, now suppose I'll get out of this anyway. I'm not going to save it. See, fill out all the required entries. So this information is a required entry. Okay. Now, anyway, don't bother. I'm not going to. Do you want to cancel? Yes, I want to cancel. Now, what is this hierarchy? Standard hierarchy. It is a predefined skeleton framework on which you create your structure. Why? For you to create the master data, this predefined standard hierarchy should be available. Now, what exactly are we talking about from the standard hierarchy perspective? Now, I said everything is required. From the SAP perspective, this is required. How do I? I'm not going to save the data. Okay. Now, again, you have the concept of number ranges, but here it is a little different. Okay. What is it that we were supposed to discuss? The uh, uh, standard hierarchy. Cost center, requirements, activate, master data, cost centers. Can you see that there is something called as a standard hierarchy? So even if you go to your profit center, you will definitely have a concept called a standard hierarchy, which is nothing but. Now I had given you the cost center structure. Now let me assume that you have direct cost centers, indirect cost centers. In the direct, I have various departments. Yeah. So under the direct cost centers, I am having so many other cost centers which I am having. This is the project structure which I as a consultant need to design. Now this is your structure. So even before I start creating this, I would build a structure called as direct and indirect. Clear? And I would structure this in my Excel sheet first. Even before I bring this particular configuration in my SAP system, I would, after taking up the requirements of my implementing partner, what I would do is I would design this in my Excel sheet, then transfer this understanding into my SAP. So in my cost center master data, I would have direct and indirect. Under the direct, I would have had these many departments. Under my indirect, I would have had a number of departments. Okay? This is your structure, hierarchy. So if you talk about profit centers, sales department 1, which sells product A, sales department 2, which sells product B. So here I again construct a backbone. I create a skeleton with this particular structure on which I create my profit centers. I'll just show you with regards to the profit centers. Just hold on. Profit center accounting, master data. See, again, you see the defined standard hierarchy under profit centers. So this is exactly the meaning of you can read, absolutely no problem. You can read it. The standard hierarchy is a tree structure for organizing all the master data belonging to a specific controlling area. Clear, students? So this is exactly the definition for a standard hierarchy. It is a basic structure on which we design our master data, or which we consultants construct the master data. Clear, students? Any questions? Yeah, let me take up. The person had asked me a doubt. Would have known. I still not have got the clarification for this. What does it mean when the year in date shows as 1999 or maybe 9999? I don't know. Sorry, I didn't understand this question. If you can help me understand this question, I'll be in a better position to answer this question. Okay. Now, any questions regarding the controlling area? Or any topic, anything. I'll just pause for 2 minutes. Okay, I'll move on. So this is your concept of your standard hierarchy. Just know this. And regarding the cost centers, so I will get into the okay, I'll get into the consultants mode itself. Okay. So how does a cost center master data look like? And how do I construct it? I'll just close this. Straight away get into the cost center. I'm in the consultant screen, students. I'll take you to the end user screen also, not a problem. Master data, cost centers, define standard hierarchy. This is uh, the most common transaction which the consultant creates the structure. I have already created a controlling area, GM01. Now, as you can see, I have created a structure. So GM01 underscore CCTR is the hierarchy. This is the first node. Under this, I have the indirect cost center. With the under indirect cost centers, I have executive and non-executive canteen. Under the direct, I have the production. Under the production, I have the fabrication department. I have the bunker drilling department, painting department. So all these, as you can see, they are your cost centers. Now, if I want to see the master data of a cost center, so I create the structure like this. So what I do is I go to the, now I'll place this. I'll place my cursor here. Now, suppose I want to add some department under the non-executive indirect cost center. Clear? So I want to add one more. So what I'll do is I'll click on the indirect cost center. Clear? And what I would do, I would click on the right click on my mouse. Then create a group or directly create a cost center. I will want to create a cost center, some department. See, some temporary department identified by a code. Yeah, and I would say, see, this is always getting saved in the inactive phase. Now I can, after saving, I need to activate this for me to use it in my postings. Clear, students? Now, where do you see all this? You will see the cost centers. Move to the right. So once you enter a expense GL account, you want to tag it to a cost center. You can see all these cost centers here. So whatever you are seeing there in this structure, whatever you're seeing is appearing here. Can you see this P008? Where is that P008? Clear, students? So this is where you see the components, where you see the, so everything is created in inactive state. You create and you activate this particular cost center for your activity. And I also showed you the place where you need to enter the cost centers. You can also see the profit center, which I've already created. You've already seen this. Sales department 1, sales department 2, clear? So like this, wherever and whenever I create or rather whatever I create in the controlling area must necessarily fall under a specific skeleton. Clear, students? Now, where does the end user, does he know everything about this? He need not know. So how does he create a cost center? Cost center, master data. And you can also create a standard hierarchy, but as an end user, I will not be knowing the hierarchy. Cost center, individual processing, KS0. Now double click. I simply want to display P00. I'll display this P005. I had created some department P0005. Enter. So this is a bunker drilling machine, or rather bunker drilling department. Can you see that this is talking to a profit center? This is exactly what I said when I spoke about the inheritance principle. So we saw the segment getting attached to the profit center, and now you see the profit center master data, profit center information in the cost center master data. This is how the information flows down. Clear, students? Did you understand? Did you see the arrangement in SAP? So this is how your setup is complete. You need to definitely have this connection, and then and only then we can talk about the information flow. And now why I'm saying this is, see, I think we read a statement where the information flow into the CO area is happening behind the scenes. It may not be direct. So information can flow from a WBS element, can flow from a plan, can flow from a network, can flow from an activity type, can flow from any of the things from the other modules. We are not responsible for that. Yeah, but the information flow as far as the CO module is concerned is a little complex. That's why we always need to say, or rather, we always say that it needs lots of experience for you to work on the CO area. But for that, you need to be very thorough in the FI module. Clear? So once you get into the consulting activity, you will see various challenges will be thrown at you, which you are supposed to, for which you are supposed to find solutions and accordingly advise the implementing part. Clear, students? Are you okay with this? So this is a very, very brief insight into your CO module. Okay. See, you assign a plan to a company code. So when you assign a plan to a company code, the company code gets assigned to a CO area, and from the plan, the information is going to the CO area. Did you understand the bridge? How the data is flowing? All right. That is why we are spending time on the org structures. So we already know by assigning the multiple company codes to a controlling area, you can perform cross company code cost accounting. We just saw that now. So we also saw the prerequisites, the chart of accounts, the fiscal year variant should be the same. You can read it in your leisure. One is to n assignment, n is to one. So we already are aware of this. Okay. When should I create a controlling area for more than one company code? Where the logistics of your company setup make it necessary to implement intercompany code processes. So whenever you have transactions between two sister concerns under the same head office, you have this requirement. When a group costing is required. Clear? So did you understand this? Let's hold on. I think I read a very interesting statement. Where you require cross-company code postings, for example, to allocate activities, activate internal activities, or for assessments. Now, when one of the operations may or may not be possible in one of your company codes, you are letting out the process where your sister concern will have that operation. So what it does, you are supplying the goods, you're sending the goods from one company code to another company code under the same group, and it is returning the finished products. After it finishes the processes, okay, it supplies or it gives the owner company code the goods. Was this understandable, students? So the next thing is your cost center master data, which we just saw. Clear? Let's read what it is. Valid from and valid to. Where do you see this? I'm not going to say this later. So what was the concept which I was trying to get into? Valid from and valid to. So it is existing from 01/04/2022 to 31st of December 9999 year. You can also clear. You can also fix this. Yeah, this is your valid from and valid to. This is exactly what cost centers are considered permanent master data. However, they can change over time as your company's requirement changes. For example, the manager of a cost center will change at the beginning of the next year. So where would you change? See, person responsible. Yeah, the bike company, he is exemplifying with the bike company. Try to understand. So we already are aware of the statement. The cost centers are mapped closely to the departments of the organization. We already know this. I have already made this statement. Okay. Cost and revenue. So are we in a position to know what is primary cost element, students? These elements enter expenses that are relevant to management accounting. The primary cost element must exist as general ledger accounts before they can be created automatically or manually in management accounting. Now, what is the meaning of this statement? Can you automatically create a P&L as a cost element? Any P&L account, any P&L general ledger account, can you ask the system to immediately consider it to be a cost element, primary cost element? Is there a setting like that? The answer is yes. Get into the transaction where you are seeing the OB13. Sorry, students, I'm using the transaction code. I will show you the part, not to worry. So I'll take up INT. Can you see? Controlling integration, manual creation of cost elements, automatic creation of cost elements. So at the level of creating the chart of accounts itself, you can mention or you can tell the SAP system to create the cost elements automatically or manually. In my GM01, I have retained as manual. Here again, you will see it is manual normally. But if at all you want the system to convert all your P&L general ledger accounts into cost elements, you can choose the automatic creation of cost elements. This is the meaning of the statement. Automatically or manually in management accounting. Did you understand, students, where the settings are coming up from? If a posting to an expense account in FI for which a primary cost element is created, you must enter an account assignment object such as your cost center or your internal order or any other thing what I show, your network, your activity types, whatever you have defined, you can assign. But it should make sense since we are targeting only our cost centers. We start and end our discussion only with the cost centers. Okay. So what happens? This ensures that you can post FI cost in the management accounting simultaneously. So not only it is going and hitting your finance books, it is also hitting your controlling. Your expense is going and sitting in that particular cost center or your internal order or your WBS element or your activity type or whatever. Clear, students? This is the meaning of this particular sentence. So I think you're already experts in this secondary cost elements, revenue elements. Please go through it. These elements are defined only in your CO area. So we are already aware that it is your apportionment for which your expenses cannot be directly identified to a cost center. So did we hear to the concepts like your assessments, settlements, correct? So please read them through. All right. Very interesting. I think with this background, I think it should be fairly comfortable for you to understand what SAP is trying to tell you. So in the previous slide, we saw some new things, statistical key figures, activity types, right? So we are already aware of cost centers. So where do you see this activity types, statistical, we call it as SKFs, statistical key figures. Where do you see them? And what do we mean by that? Just hold on, students. Activity type, statistical key figures. What are they? They are basically just maintain allocation, create activity types. You may not be able to relate this, but it is more concerned to your HR. Clear? Skilled, unskilled labor. Now, what is the statistical key figures? The statistical values describing cost centers. Did you understand anything? Absolutely. Now, what exactly are the escapes? Now, suppose you want to get a statement of your expense. Let us say my telephone costs. I define that as a statistical key figure on which I am going to draw the statements. Clear? Has he given an example? Let me maintain. See, telephone charges, employees, square meters. So the stand includes the following sample key figures. Now, what are these? Let's read the statistical key figures. He has come back to the same definition. Okay, students, I will not confuse you. I'm not going to confuse you by giving you more and more information. Okay. Do I have any queries? Now, did you understand? Did I explain? You can also restrict. There is no specific reason as to you need to understand the meaning. Simple. You can extend the analysis period. See, now I want to change the mode. Cost center, the cost center, right? Analysis period. I can change. But did you understand why you would want to change? Basically, this is going to be my existence, but if you want to still manage the information as to, suppose Mr. X is managing the cost center till 31st of December 2025. Now, from the 1st of January 2026, Mr. Y becomes the in charge. If you want to still maintain data like that, you can maintain that. Absolutely not. Just hold on. I'll get into the master data. I want to change cost center. Okay. I don't know why it is not allowing me to do it. Okay, not a problem. I'll go to the other transaction. Let me just check. To make the selection, place the cursor in. Somebody has changed. See, I was telling you about the sensitivity of the. So who created this change document? Created by, so Akanksha has created this. Somebody by the name, some user Akanksha. Okay, let me pick up. Was created. Data already exists. See, once you enter the data, no changes are allowed to be made. See, it is blocking me actually. So that is why we need to be very, very careful about whatever data you are entering. Especially, it is so very cumbersome when you talk about the CO. CO module is comprising of very sensitive information. Once you actually set up the system, it will be very difficult for the consultant to revert or to delete. Deletion though it is not possible, but even then, even if assumingly Let's assume that it is, you can delete the data, but with very, very great difficulty. Kunal, can we break for 10 minutes?
Sure, sir. your screen get pause or something? The break.
I'm starting.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, do I have any questions? Nothing. Okay, no. So, so we have fairly understood uh, the concept of controlling area. What are the different components within the controlling area? But dear students, the subject does not stop here. It only starts. In fact, I would like to say that we have not even started. Okay, so let us take it on. Some fields in the cost center master data. Let us see if we have already seen this. Valid from, valid to. We have seen the profit center also. Company code in the business area. Have you seen? Remember? I think just hold on. Just give me a moment, students. I will be using the transaction code, students. Let me just know if you're okay with it, or if you want me to take you through the path, I will do. That should not be a problem. You can take up any of the cost centers. Absolutely not. So can you see the cost center controlling area? What are the other areas you wanted to see? Company code in the business area, business area. Yeah, but now I'm not very sure if all the projects, in fact, we are asked not to, what should I say? After the profit center accounting came up, we have stopped using business areas, but only for certain projects it has allowed, right? Now, cost center standard hierarchy. See, where is the hierarchy? Hierarchy would have under the production, I have the milling department. So the cost center hierarchy displays the standard hierarchy node to which the cost center is attached. Okay, that's exactly what we understood from the meaning of the cost center standard hierarchy or standard hierarchy. Let me not even mention cost center standard hierarchy. Standard hierarchy. Profit center. Did we see the profit center also? See. Clear? Now, what is an activity type? You want me to show that also? I will show that. Absolutely not a problem. Accounting. controlling. I'm just taking you to the places where actually the screen is showing. So I will activity type, activity, individual activity type, KL01. This I'll just display. I'll try to find out if at least I have not created anything. Okay. So let me, if controlling area 0001 has defined something, let me just check. So they have defined one. See, controlling area 0001. This is how your activity type looks like. See, it is assigned to a cost element. This is what is this? This is your GL account. Clear? So what is this activity type? Production hours. Yeah. See. Activity unit. How is the activity units per hour? Clear? So this is the data, and basically see, whenever you have consultants working on a specific project, so you would have got both experienced consultants and fresh consultants, or maybe say junior consultants. So they are not paid the same amount. If the senior consultant is taking $120 per hour, the junior consultant may be drawing $60 per hour. So here we define the activity types. Skilled, unskilled. When it comes to the production department, skilled and unskilled. So like that, I would define the based on the business requirement. I would not have a standard pattern for each and every project, but yes. Okay. So what else? Activity type category. See, one. What does this one mean? So it is allowing me what kind of an operation is possible. Manual entry, indirect determination, manual entry, indirect allocation, manual entry, no allocation, manual entry, manual allocation. So these are, let me not give any details on that. How the activity type can be allocated, for example, directly by the manual allocation or indirectly by a sender receiver relationship in the settlement side. Okay. This price, this field specifies how the price is calculated. Let me see where it is. Price indicator. Price indicator. So this is exactly per hour. So since it's an hourly basis that I'm measuring this, right? Whatever may be the activity. So I'm measuring it on hourly basis. So I would indicate my did you see this automatically fix on activity or on capacity determined manually. It all depends on how you want to make use or how you want to use. Clear, students? Relationship between a cost center and an activity type. See, I gave you an example of a senior consultant. Can you see this? So it could be 300 rupees or maybe say $300 per hour, see, per unit. For the cost center number 301,000, whatever. FICO Consulting. So I'm assuming that I have created a cost center, FICO Consulting, right? And in that we have an activity type of senior consultant, junior consultant, shadow consultant, project manager. Okay. This was a typical what we had actually done. So I remembered a project where we had done on the same basis. So that's why it was easy for me to share that information. I had not even seen the slide, but we know the practical examples. We know the practical examples. So you said, if at all I need to give the price manually. So I set it to 3 category, which we just saw, right, students? See, can you see? Somebody asked me why that particular validity period is there. Can you see this? So from this date to this date, it is Mr. Miller who's in charge of the cost center. And from July 1st, it is Mr. Smith. And from January 1st, it is somebody else. Yeah. So this is how you set up for the particular cost center 301 hash hash FICO consulting. So based on the person responsible, you can have this period under consideration. So that is why you saw that 1999 and 9999. Is the example clear? Creating a time-based master data. It's the same thing. Yeah. Collective processing. What do we mean by collective processing? We saw mass reversal and the individual reversal. We saw collective processing for the GL master data also, where we could see or rather create or rather change the general ledger account at 2 different places, at the chart of accounts level and as well as at the company code level in one go. This is your collective processing as far as your cost centers are concerned. What is it trying to do? Let me just check. User responsible Narayanan P. Same thing what is trying to explain. She has given you a typical example for a statistical key figure. So he has taken the example of, he has picked up people working only in the maintenance, vehicle maintenance, not your machinery maintenance, but your vehicle maintenance. Okay. I've already shown you where the statistical key figures are. All are typically for you to read and understand. Clear? So I would suggest, please Whenever you find time, go through these documents. The internal order, master record consists of different sections. We have already seen the internal order, have we? Right? Let's see, let's read some more. Now, hitherto, we were considering the internal orders to be temporary cost collectors, right? Now, when can a internal order accept revenues? I've already given you a typical live example for your internal orders. Can somebody answer this? When would you feel that the internal orders can absorb your revenues also? See, in the morning, I gave you an example of a typical live scenario of an exhibition. Okay. Now, in the exhibition, I walk in as a customer and I buy. Don't I make a payment? So I like a product of yours and I buy from the stall itself. Can't I buy from the stall? I can. So where are you recording this revenue? It has to be in the internal order only. Just like you have your expenses regarding the rentals of the stall, then your refreshments or whatever. Here again, this is a revenue. When it is linked to a profit center. What is linked to a profit center? I'm talking about the internal order. We have still not yet reached the profit center. Did I ever say, make a statement that your internal orders is connected to a profit center? It is your cost center which is related to a profit center and not your internal order. I was asking, did you understand now? So would your answer differ after I explain what is how can the internal order take up revenues also? I'm still in the internal order. I'm not still gone to the settlement. Clear? Did I answer your question? Clear? Master data groups. We saw the same thing in your cost center master data. The structure, indirect, direct, under indirect, we had executive, non-executive canteen, right? Same thing with your any other entity also. So we have reached the lesson summary. So there is a typical business example. Just go through. Planning in management accounting, cost center planning. Let us read. Let us spend some time. Purpose of planning, I don't have to explain, all are self-explanatory. As long as something is really required from the SAP perspective, I would always ask you people to read. Okay, all are self-explanatory. See, I was more interested in you knowing the concepts so that your understanding of the course content would be smooth, would be good enough for you to proceed. So the importance of planning, guys, I leave it to you. Okay, planning goals, cost accounting methodologies, all are self-explanatory. Somewhere or the other, you would have definitely read about them. The only thing is linking. Versions in planning, one of the most very important concepts. Now, we'll have to tell the SAP system, just hold on, I will, okay, no questions. Okay, I will just go to the controlling area and show you this. This also is one of the most important concepts in SAP. Just hold on. Let me take you into the consultant screen. Controlling, general controlling, organization, maintain controlling area, maintain versions, execute. Is this what you see here? The same thing what you see? Version 0, 1, 2. So they are all created. Normally, we select version 0. Why? Because it allows planning, actuals, work in progress, something called as a result analysis, inventory analysis. It also gives me a scope for variance analysis. So basically, we allow the version, we select the version 0 so that my controlling area is flexible enough to report against the planned values, against the actual values, against the variances also. So at any point of time, if I want to have a variance analysis, that is also possible. But is this possible in this 110? So that is why we always ensure that we pick up the, just hold on. Yeah. So we always pick up and activate this particular version 0 itself. How do we activate? We activate it, basically, it is based on the fiscal year. Double click. See, it is asking me for the controlling area, GM01. Now can you see it is valid for 2026 up to 2026. Okay, so I would normally by default I would have always selected 0. It is not by default, but I allow the thought process would be to automatically my controlling area should always talk to the version 0. Do you understand what is a version now? Okay, I have gone a step ahead and also told you how do we activate or deactivate. Okay, planning always takes place with a planned version. See, a version is used all across the applications. Yeah, so normally it is going to be 0. See, SAP system automatically creates a version 0 when you create the controlling area. Clear, students? See, did you understand this? Just hold on. Is a unique view of planned costs and revenues. And read this line. A given version can have specific settings that apply individually to each controlling area and to each fiscal year. Did we talk about the fiscal year? Correct? That is exactly what he's trying to explain. Yeah. So students, please read all this. All right. Whenever you find time. Oh, okay. So just click on this and you will get all the information. Yeah. I'm just going through each and every slide, but I'm pausing only at the important slides so that your understanding could be better. So students try to understand as much as possible. Clear? As I said, you have both your budgeting and your planning activities for every component in your CO. All right. We have already gone through the internal order budgeting, cost center budgeting, the concept of supplement, return. Clear? Same thing applies to every other component also. Yeah. primary costs. So we already know what are primary cost elements. All right. Same thing what he's talking about. See, all are typically your SAP meanings. All right. If you know the area of application, you can be very flexible in considering what should be an activity type, what should be your statistical key figure, provided you are very clear in understanding the requirements of the business. Clear? So we have seen how the cost element behaves, primary cost element, right? See, for these concepts, typically I would have wanted this setup to, but probably it could also be a lot of confusions. So let us stick to whatever we have understood and try to build up the subject based on whatever we have discussed, right? Anything specifically you want to understand, dear students? Don't worry about the nitty-gritties of your activity type, statistical key figures, your distribution, your whatever. Okay. So we have already seen the process of settlement of an internal order, right? So any specific thing you want to understand. How did you find the CO module, by the way? And imagine, students, we have not gone in depth for the CO because it may not be required at this juncture. Okay. Now tell me how you felt about the CO module. I would accept all the answers, complex, confusing, not understood. All are fair enough answers. Absolutely. There is no doubt in it at all. I would respect every answer. It is your feeling. It is what you have felt. And you're very right. All of you. If somebody says, oh, controlling is so easy, fair enough. Good. Controlling is good enough. Controlling is uh, easy. take 2 minutes time to answer this question of mine, students. How did you find the controlling module? Difficult. Okay. Agree? Yeah. It is because, as I've already said, but don't ever feel that it is complex. It all requires logic. And most of you would still not have been professionally experienced. You might not be in a position to understand or connect the subject business wise. But as far as the delivery is concerned, was I able to at least deliver the basic things of controlling? Forget from the understanding perspective. I do agree. Yeah, it is difficult. It is not. I wouldn't like to use the terms, discouraging terms like difficult, and you, you'll pick up. Don't worry. You will definitely pick up. But the only thing is the probably asset accounting itself. Asset accounting also you would have felt a little complex. Do you agree with me? Because that also is not straightforward. So you saw how the actual delivery goes. Starts from the simplest of the simplest concepts and it keeps building. So now we have reached the stage where you people are really feeling the fire as far as the controlling is concerned, right? But as I said, the market never accepts you as a finance consultant alone. Yeah. And as far as the other topics are concerned, let's say, like say in the CO module, in one of the projects we had to pick up something called as result analysis, your inventory analysis. Yes, we finance consultants had to pick that up. It is a very critical part of the project, right? So we had to pick that up. And see, the interesting thing was we were getting the knowledge from Netherlands. Okay, we were in India and we were trying to understand the subject. See, what used to happen was to be in the project, to survive in the project, we consultants had to do a reverse KT. What is this KT? Knowledge transfer. Typical SAP term, KT, knowledge transfer. So we were evaluated, we were given marks. So some person out there in the Netherlands was moving away from this particular job. So we were entrusted with that. So we here in India, we had to take up that particular part of SAP. or particular part of controlling. So till then we had not seen that practical approach of that component in your CV. Yes, we knew what the controlling module was, but the result analysis, how it was achieved, what are the components, what is the project, what does the end user demand? These were something very interesting, which we picked up. Despite being 2 years or 2.5 years in the project, this new requirement came up. So also was the project systems. So you constantly keep learning. You're exposed. Yeah, I do agree. Do not do not bother about this particular nothing. Okay, just approach the subject as it is. And as of now, do you agree that I have given you good enough information as far as SAP is concerned? Can you answer me that? How did the sessions go on? Was it good? I'm asking about the sessions without any reference to any specific subject. Yeah, students, I asked you a question. My question was, how did you find the delivery? Thank you. You can come up with your straightforward answers. Okay. It is not that. So did you learn something new? The attendees. But since you will be equipped with another professional degree as a CMA, more focus will be on your, obviously, I mean, so don't worry about the complexity. Okay, just go with the flow. We'll just spend 2 or 3 more minutes. I'll be taking your valuable inputs regards my question. See, all the objectives of planning is one and the same. Clear? Plan the structure, click on this. All for you to read. Clear? So as and when you find time, all right, just maybe say for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, spend some time to read. We have crossed 700 plus slides. And now, after having discussed all the practical side of SAP, right? Probably you can connect your CMA with all these slides, probably. or probably SAP has a different language. Let me see if there is something to be explained. I will definitely do it. See, the first sentence itself, there is no sequence in which you must perform the steps. It is all dependent on your business requirements. Clear, students?
Sir, everything as I posted in publish.
Yes, perfect. Practically also I have shown you, but I have avoided some complex things, right? Because this is not the right time for me to show you all the complex things, because that is not the purpose of this course, right? Yeah. So as and when, see this is what keeps up the interest, right? So tomorrow also, now I think for the remaining 2 days, it's going to be more of theory. So let us try to make the sessions as interesting as possible. Okay, students. So see you all tomorrow morning by 11 a.m. Okay. Okay, Kunal, we can wind up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
students. Stay tuned till for tomorrow class. We will meet you at in the morning 11 and then afternoon 2. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye. See you all.